India objected, but the IMF still approved it. $1 billion loan to Pakistan, new funding for terror? A country that has for decades been considered a hub of cross-border terrorism, labeled globally as a terror factory, suddenly receives another $1 billion from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. And that too, at a time when India has openly and strongly opposed it on global platforms. The question arises, is this funding for terror now being overlooked even by international institutions? Or is it just another diplomatic maneuver where public safety, terror financing, and the truth all become collateral damage? Today, we are diving deep into this issue. But before we begin, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you are the first to get updates from all our latest videos. Now, let's begin today's discussion without any delay. In that crucial IMF Executive Board meeting, India not only opposed the loan being given to Pakistan but also abstained from voting as a strong mark of protest. India clearly stated that Pakistan is not only one of the biggest defaulters but also has such a poor track record that any financial assistance granted to it could directly or indirectly end up fueling terrorist activities. And the most concerning part? Despite being fully aware of all of India's arguments, the IMF still approved a $1 billion disbursement to Pakistan. Pakistan's Prime Minister's office portrayed the deal as if the IMF had shown confidence in the country and claimed that India was merely trying to block their development. The PMO asserted that the economic situation was improving and Pakistan was moving forward on the path of growth. But is that really the case? Or is it simply a political facade aimed at misleading the global community? India's objection wasn't just as a neighboring country, but as a responsible global partner, asserting that funding terrorism, whether directly or indirectly, is a crime against humanity. India reminded the IMF that Pakistan has borrowed funds 28 times in the last 35 years, and each time, the money was either used to strengthen the military or to further terrorist networks. In such a scenario, issuing new loans is essentially equivalent to reviving a terror infrastructure. India made every possible effort on its part regarding this issue. In the IMF's voting process, member countries cannot vote against a proposal. They can either support it or choose to remain absent. India opted to stay absent, thereby registering its disagreement. This move was a clear message to the world that India dissociates itself from this decision and refuses to share responsibility for its consequences. What's surprising is that even the IMF itself acknowledges that Pakistan has a poor track record. In its own assessment report, the IMF stated that financial assistance given to Pakistan is often influenced by political interference, which raises questions about the IMF's impartiality. The report even admitted that repeated bailouts have pushed Pakistan's debt burden so high that the IMF now finds itself trapped, because if it stops providing aid, Pakistan's economy could collapse entirely. India added another important dimension to the debate: the role of the Pakistani military. India clearly pointed out that the Pakistani army not only dominates security affairs but also plays a central role in economic decision-making. Many of Pakistan's major companies and investment decisions are under military control. Therefore, any loan granted under the name of reform ultimately ends up in the hands of those who support cross-border terrorist activities against India. India argued that in such circumstances, IMF assistance is not merely a financial package, it could become funding for a network that poses a threat to not just India, but multiple countries around the world. While the IMF did acknowledge India's concerns, the final decision still favored Pakistan. Now the question is, what will Pakistan do with this $1 billion? Will the funds be used for health, education, and employment? Or will a significant portion of it be funneled into military establishments, terrorist networks, and global destabilization agendas? If history is any indication, the answer is likely to be alarming. Financial analysts believe this move by the IMF not only provides Pakistan with temporary relief, but also removes the urgency to develop any long-term strategy to escape its debt trap. Each time a crisis arises, Pakistan turns to the IMF, receives funding, misuses it, faces another downturn, and the cycle repeats. This has become a pattern, and for countries like India, it's a matter of deep concern. The Congress party criticized the Narendra Modi government over the entire episode, stating that India should have voted no in the IMF decision. Congress General Secretary Jairam Ramesh reminded that the party had already urged the central government to oppose the loan outright. According to him, abstaining from the vote was a mild form of dissent, whereas saying no would have sent a stronger and clearer message. However, due to diplomatic protocols and limitations of international forums, India chose a path that allowed it to express its disapproval while staying within the framework of global rules. Another major aspect of this entire story is the credibility of institutions like the IMF. If loans are repeatedly given to the same countries without accountability, especially when those funds end up in the wrong hands, it can erode the trust of the international community. India also pointed out to the IMF that providing funds to nations that sponsor terrorism damages the reputation of global institutions meant to serve humanity. Now the question is, what will be India's next move? Will India strategize to strengthen its influence within institutions like the IMF? Or will it escalate efforts to corner Pakistan on global forums? The game of diplomacy isn't confined to words. It's also about strategies, alliances, and the ability to read the pulse of time. If in the future, any damage is caused by terrorism funded through such aid to Pakistan, India will have already warned the world. India hasn't merely abstained from a vote today, it has issued a clear warning. A warning for the day when, after a terrorist attack, the world will ask, who funded it? And on that day, IMF records will show that India had already raised these concerns. Today's story is not just about a loan, it's about trust. The trust the world must uphold in standing united against terrorism. And in this fight, India is not just a frontline nation, but a responsible voice of caution for the global community.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.